So, what do you think happens when you take a soldier, a symbol of civilization and order, and you just drop him, all alone, in the middle of a massive, wild desert? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today with Honoré de Balzac's incredible short story, A Passion in the Desert. And let me tell you, it really messes with your ideas about survival, instinct, and what it even means to have a companion.
Yeah, this one question? It's the absolute heart of the whole story. I mean, wow. It's basically looking you right in the eye and challenging a belief most of us just take for granted, that we're somehow separate, above the animal kingdom. But are we? Are we really all that different? So the narrator doesn't just come out and give you an answer. Nope. Instead, he tells you about this story he once heard from a really unlikely guy, an old, grizzled soldier who'd seen it all in Napoleon's campaigns. And trust me, this is not your typical war story. This is a memory. A memory so intense, it might just change the way you see everything.
And here's the funny thing. The story about this raw, wild place, it actually starts in the most civilized place you can imagine, Paris. The narrator and his buddy are just hanging out, talking about whether animals have real feelings, and that's when they run into our old soldier. And when he hears them talking, he just quietly says, "Well known." Just 2 words, but man, they are chilling. You just know this guy has seen something, a connection between a person and an animal that you'd never see in a million years at some circus.
All right, so the soldier begins his story, and boom, we're thrown right into the middle of the scorching heat and total chaos of Napoleon's campaign in Egypt. He gets captured by local tribes, but he's not going down like that. He makes a break for it, steals a horse, and just gallops off into the unknown. He thinks he's free, right? He's escaped his human captors, but what he doesn't realize is he's just swapped one kind of prison for a much, much bigger one.
And then, disaster. His one and only companion out there, his horse, just gives out, collapses from exhaustion, and just like that, he is completely, utterly stranded. That desert that looked like freedom, it's now just a silent, endless prison. There are no walls, no guards, just this massive emptiness that feels like it's about to swallow him whole.
And the way Balzac describes this is just perfect. He doesn't just say, oh, it was a big desert. No, he calls it an ocean without limit. Think about that. Suddenly, it's not just a landscape anymore. It's this living, breathing thing, a beautiful but terrifying void that just completely erases any sense of direction, any sense of hope.
And then there's the silence. This is not some peaceful, quiet moment. Oh no, it's awful, he says. It's like a physical weight pressing down on him. He's just this tiny speck of life in this huge, indifferent universe. He even shouts, just to hear something. And the only thing he gets back? The sound of his own heart pounding in his chest. A terrifying reminder that he is completely, totally alone.
So he manages to find a little bit of shelter, a small, dark cave. Finally, a break from the sun. He's so exhausted he just passes out. But then, in the middle of the night, a sound. It cuts right through that awful silence. He's not alone. Something is in his sanctuary with him. It's pitch black. He can't see a thing, but he can hear it. This deep, steady breathing. And it is definitely not human. It's the sound of a big animal breathing, and it's so close he can almost feel the vibrations in the air. Can you just imagine that feeling? That cold dread of being trapped in the dark with something hunting you.
Slowly, slowly, his eyes start to adjust to the dark, and then he sees them, 2 little yellow lights, just glowing. These aren't reflections, they're eyes, and they are staring right at him.
All his military training? Totally useless right now. He's not a wildlife expert. For all he knows, anything could be in that shadow. A lion? A tiger? He has no idea. He's completely powerless, just frozen, holding his breath, waiting for the moon to finally reveal what's about to kill him.
And then the moonlight pours into the cave. It's a panther, a huge, magnificent panther. And here's the crazy part, the thing that is both terrifying and maybe his only hope. Her face is smeared with blood. She's a killer, for sure, but she's just eaten. And for this one moment, her full stomach is literally the only thing between him and death.
Okay, so this is the moment. This is where everything changes. The soldier makes a choice that goes against every single survival instinct he has. Instead of grabbing his dagger, he does nothing. He just waits. And that one simple act, choosing curiosity over fear, is the start of something absolutely incredible.
So when the panther wakes up, he risks it all. He slowly reaches out his hand, and he strokes her back. Her response? It's just astonishing. She starts to purr, a deep rumble like an organ. And right then, he gives her a name, Mignon, which was the name of an old girlfriend. You see what he's doing? He's not just trying to tame an animal. He's trying to make sense of his world by putting his own human feelings onto her. And this shift in his mind, it's like a switch just flips. It's radical. Look at how his view of her completely transforms. What was once this terrible companion is now his imperious courtesan. The plan to kill her? Gone. Replaced by this feeling of respect, almost remorse for ever thinking it. He's not a victim waiting to be eaten anymore. He's become her admirer.
Out there, in all that emptiness, their bond deepens into this really strange friendship. They start playing together, like a man and his dog, kind of blurring the lines between them. She even saves his life, pulls him from quicksand. I mean, that's loyalty. He starts to understand her, the different sounds she makes, the way she looks at him. And he even sees what he's convinced is jealousy when an eagle flies overhead. A complex emotion that just completely blows up everything he thought he knew about animals.
So he just watches her, this perfect queen of the desert, and he comes to this truly revolutionary conclusion for him. This isn't just a beast running on instinct. This is a thinking, feeling being. He says it himself. She has a soul. But you know how these stories of great passion go. They're often headed for tragedy, and this one is no different. It doesn't end because of some big, evil act. It ends because of one tiny, fatal misunderstanding. It's what happens when two totally different languages, the language of man and the language of the wild, finally, tragically miss each other.
And the end, well, it happens in a split second. She turns and gives his leg a little nip. Maybe she was playing, maybe it was a little warning. He even admits later it was probably gentle. But in that one instant, all that fear he was raised with, the fear of the wild, it all comes rushing back. That soul he saw, it disappears. And all he sees is a predator.
His reaction is pure gut instinct. There's no thought behind it. He just plunges his dagger into her throat. Her last cry, he says, it froze his heart. And as she looks at him in her final moments, there's no anger in her eyes, just confusion.
And the second he does it, he knows. He knows he's made a terrible mistake. So when his rescuers finally show up, they don't find a triumphant survivor. They find a man sobbing over a dead panther. Because in his heart, he knows he didn't just kill an animal. He murdered someone he loved.
And just like that, we're back in Paris. The old soldier is finishing his story. This is a man who's seen the absolute worst of humanity, all the horrors of war. But you can tell, no battle, no wound, ever left a scar as deep as the one he got in the desert.
The narrator, he has to know. He asks him, beyond just what happened, what did it feel like out there? In all that emptiness with her? What was the real takeaway from all of it?
And the soldier's answer, man, this is the line that just sticks with you. He says, in the desert, you see, there is everything and nothing. It is God without mankind. Wow. It wasn't empty at all. It was full of, everything except us. A world without all our rules, our fears, our misunderstandings. It was pure. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In this so-called civilized world we've built, what have we lost along the way?